Governor Newsom, thank you so much. It's so awesome to finally meet you. Obviously, I see you. The way we consume our news these days, my generation, is through social media. So I'm obviously very familiar with you. And I really thank you for your time. But I wanted to take some time to chat about some very important things to our Cali familia. I think it's only appropriate to get into some icebreakers really quick. So are you down?
Let's do it. Let's do
All
it.
right. What is your guilty pleasure breakfast in a morning where you know you can splurge, you can have anything?
Legit, and I'm embarrassed to say this, new addiction, and that damn Egg McMuffin.
Mm.
There's a reason 18 billion of those have been consumed.
With
Legit.
the McCafe coffee, I love it. Amazing. That's an honest answer, and I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah.
Okay, next question would be, what is the latest show that you have binge watched in this quarantine time?
All right. So I'm only on episode 2, but of I think the 4th season. Loving it. Narcos. Come on.
Narcos. Ooh,
Yeah.
interesting. Jam-packed with a lot of action and a lot of drama.
Well, no, the first 3 seasons were awesome, and the first 2 episodes have so far been very, very good. So I'm excited.
Now, I want to ask about film. What is your favorite movie of all time?
That's not good. That's hard, right? It depends what mood you're in, right? You're gonna.
This is
You know
true.
what? I'll be honest with you. And Shakespeare in Love. I'm just saying. Have you
Ooh,
seen it? Have you seen it?
woohoo, okay.
Have you
That
seen it?
I have not, but I'm
Exactly.
caught by surprise. I'm a little, yeah, okay.
Hey, Gwyneth Paltrow. I'm telling you, spectacular.
I know in Hollywood it's all about like the big budgets and stuff, but I come from, a place where we make something out of nothing. So that's when the magic happens. So I'm definitely intrigued. I'm gonna have to check it out.
Check it out.
Okay, last rapid fire question would be, what would be your turn up song that you when you listen to it, you get ready for the day, it puts you in a good mood.
Like sort of the old Rocky Eye of the Tiger type thing. Yeah, I mean,
Eye of
like,
the Tiger.
but that's old school. That ages me. I'll be honest. You know,
That is not. That is like music
come on.
legend.
Dun, dun,
Like,
come on.
yeah. Okay, I feel
Okay.
you. That's the best thing about what I do as a musician is that music is constantly evolving, but it's timeless. It transcends, trends and things like that. And there's always those artists or those bands or musicians that when you listen to them, like recently, I just had the opportunity to collaborate with Santana, and I
Ooh,
was geeking out. I mean, full blown, like I couldn't believe it. My parents couldn't believe it. My grandparents couldn't believe it. So
come
it's
on.
like, it's a generational thing, music. It doesn't age you at all.
Bay Area's own Carlos Santana. And I did this thing as mayor of San Francisco. I did this Hall of Fame. He was my
Hmm.
first choice for Hall of Fame. It was a kick to get to meet him, the whole thing. He's the best. That's good. That's legit. Very
I
legit.
know.
Very.
Yes. So, um,
By
was
the
an
way,
honor.
between just full disclosure, I got 4 young kids, and I've been torturing them. I found a bunch. We have this old CD player, and so I have all these old Frank Sinatra CDs, and I just put them on repeat, torturing my kids. They all know "Fly Me to the Moon." My 4-year-old, my 11-year-old, they just like, "Dad, we're done," but they've got it all down. That's
Oh yeah.
anything from Sinatra.
Anything Sinatra. I love it. Well, now that we've gotten the ice broken, and I've gotten to learn a little bit about you, I would love the opportunity to tell you a little bit about myself. As I mentioned before, I am a proud Cali girl myself, and I want to tell you these things just so you understand just how much this conversation means to me. Because I was born and raised in Inglewood, and I'm also a proud Mexican American. My grandparents actually moved to Cali from Mexico in the late 60s. And it's interesting because from hearing their stories, because I'm so blessed to have all 4 of them present in our lives and able to share these stories, it's really interesting because it almost feels like some things, but nothing at the same time has changed since those times. And it's things like, for instance, our Latinx community always having been about hard work and respect and unity, definitely unity. Family is very big for us, and all those things still stand till this day. But sadly, what also still happens is our communities, especially the Black and brown communities, they continue to fall through the cracks. And it comes down to things like the education system, right? The healthcare system, which we see evidently with something like COVID-19, inequality, discrimination across the board, within the workplace, as well as, interactions with legal forces or police, how our legal cases are treated even after the fact. And these are things that we have faced and continue to face on a daily basis, and obviously very heavy. I mean, we don't carry them lightly. And what we can never talk enough about is that we as citizens can actually do something about it, and making change towards these things that affect us so much. And the first thing being educating ourselves as well as each other on the topics, but then to showing up and voting on it. And I don't know about you, but this election feels a lot different than previous ones. And I don't think I need to emphasize on that anymore at this point. But it's a conversation that, to me, truthfully, is a lot bigger than politics. It's so much more than that. It's about our future. It's about human rights. It's about accountability and thinking more we than me, unity, empathy, humanity. So I want to talk to you about the importance of voting, particularly for young people, because I know as Latinx communities, they talk about our numbers so much. We have massive numbers. I mean, the millions of first-time Latino voters that we're going to be having this election is so exciting, but I want them to think more than just numbers. Our numbers don't just matter, our lives matter. So what would your message be to them?
So, boy, I unpack everything you said, because the journey you've been on in your young life, but the journey your parents have endured over their longer lives. And so much of California's current and past has been shaped by their very lived experience. You just think back, thinking about it, voting, 1994 in California was a lot like America in 2020. 1994 in the state of California, there was Prop 187 on the ballot. Ask your parents about that. There was 3 strikes and you're out on the ballot in 1994. 1995, the UC Regents, the famed UC Regents board got rid of affirmative action. The xenophobia, the nativism, the fear of the other. They talked about the browning of California, the scapegoating of Black and brown communities. Your parents had to live through that. But one word I didn't hear, and I heard all the right words of empathy and humanity, but also resiliency. What a remarkable community, what a remarkable state. And it is true, you're right, the numbers, we tend to get fixated on that, but majority minority. This state is majority minority. 27% of California is foreign born. We're a universal state. It's an extraordinary place. It's just the active engagement with people across every conceivable difference. And it's focusing on the things that you just said, the things that bind us together, our common humanity, this sense of communitarianism, that we're all better off, we're all better off. And that's been lost in our politics, because all of what your parents experienced in the 90s, this country's now experiencing its scale, with a president that's using those same tropes, those same strategies to divide us along racial, religious, ethnic lines, sexual orientation, dividing us. And so it's why voting is so foundational, but your point is the right point. It's more than voting. It's about active, not inert citizenship. Citizenship's not just voting on election day. It's not just paying taxes. It's about getting engaged in your community, in the world we're trying to build. And so what we're hoping to do, and what reason I'm here with you, because you're doing it, is you're inspiring people to be fully participatory in the life of their community, their neighborhood, their city, their county, and their state. And that's so foundational in a democracy, particularly though, a democracy that we are so proud to embrace, and that is with all of the splendor of all remarkable diversity and perspectives that we have in this great state.
Definitely, most definitely. I would like to know something about you, and that is, How old were you the first time you voted, and what was that experience like? Because, like I mentioned before, we're going to have a lot of first time voters this election. And I remember my first time voting, oh man, I was nervous. I showed up, I was like, oh, this responsibility is massive. And am I as prepared as I can be? And I walked away actually feeling like I can do so much better next time, to be honest. That's my truth, you know? And I would like to know how old were you, and what was that experience like?
I did the first year I could. It was quite literally that 18th year. And you know what's remarkable? I love that you just said you were nervous. I swear to you, not making this up. I'm not kidding you. I still get butterflies in my stomach. I still get that nervousness, and not just when I'm on the ballot. I mean, like literally, it's a weird thing to say. It's a really emotional experience. It really is. Voting's emotional because it's intense. But man, we take it for granted. And I hope now people's eyes are opening that we shouldn't. All the voter suppression, all the efforts to get rid of people from the voting rolls, and all the efforts on voter ID and all this stuff. Man, that's something we fought for decades. Your parents, my grandparents, they all fought for. And this next generation, that can all go away like that. We got to take that back. It's so foundational to a functioning democracy. But you should all have that experience you and I have had. That emotional experience. There's a sense of pride. When you're done, trust me, you will love the experience of voting.
I completely agree. And I would love to really just emphasize that to all the youth out there that is really stepping into this space, because it is overwhelming. I mean, it is emotionally, mentally, and now physically, because of all, the protests and things that we've done to really take action in the things that affect us and that we're so passionate about. Voting is that one right that we can exercise to guarantee that our voices are heard. So I'm really glad that you shared that, because that nervousness is real, man.
By the way, there's no shame in not having voted in the past. That's okay. I get it. I mean, but you have the ability to change that course. And by the way, we're making it easier than ever. I mean, California's same-day registration, where the voter registration at the DMV, the ability to do it online. I just mailed out. We were the first state in this pandemic to announce that we were mailing out ballots to every active registered voter in the state of California, October 5th. It all arrived in your mailbox. I don't know how to make it more easy.
I love it. Well, I would, just to wrap up the voting conversation, I would like to know, when you vote, what do you hope your vote accomplishes? What motivates you when you are voting?
I think it's an expression of priority, but also expression of values. For me, I vote for people that share broadly the values that I hold dear in the state. I want someone that's open to argument, interested in evidence. I don't really love ideologues on either side of the aisle. And so there's a little humility when I vote as well, recognizing the vagaries of life. We're human. And so I'm forgiving often. I think about the conversation we're having with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is one of my oldest friends. We knew each other before she was district attorney. I got sworn in as mayor the same day she got sworn in as district attorney in San Francisco. We've been on many vacations together, and we've been on this journey in politics together. I've watched as people were very critical of some positions that she held during the primary, some that Joe Biden held in terms of his advocacy as a U.S. senator. And I understand there's humility in this process. We grow, we learn, and we evolve as long as we're listening.
I love that you brought up Senator Harris, because I've actually had the honor to interview her and speak with her, and kind of leads me to the next topic that I wanted to dive into you with, because we also had the opportunity to speak about COVID-19. And it's just the thing that just keeps on giving, COVID-19. And it's interesting because obviously, you look back at March when this all started, even though it technically started before March, but when the big, boom happened and everyone kind of realized how this was going to impact us, and maybe also didn't have any clue how long this was going to last. COVID-19 has definitely hit every community in this country, but sadly not equally. It's different for many, and what I do know is it has definitely disproportionately impacted the Latinx community across the nation. And with California being our home, I think myself and my audience would like to know, what's continuing to be done here to tackle these issues, and how those plans are moving along or evolving as the pandemic continues, because sadly, I don't think there's going to be an end to this. We still don't have a vaccine. We don't really know when this is over.
Yeah. No other state's doing more than we're doing to support our diverse communities, period, full stop. That's an objective fact. What's also an objective fact is we're not doing nearly enough. And so I'm not going to sugarcoat it, not try to mislead you, not Pollyannish about this. All of the disparities that pre-existed this pandemic have just been exposed during the pandemic. All of those disparities in terms of outcomes across the spectrum, opportunity across the spectrum, all the things you were just speaking about in terms of educational opportunities and being able to advance across the spectrum of opportunities in a society. And those are manifest in the Latino community in particular. Here's just statistically, I want to bear out some facts. So for folks in California, get a sense of just this state. It's the largest state in the union, 40 million people. The Latino community represents 39% of the population. Over 60% of COVID-19 positive cases have happened within the community, and just shy of half of all the deaths, 48.5%. So 40% population, 60% of the cases, half the deaths. And so what we have done is we've tried to advance the cause that I campaigned on, which was the cause of providing primary care access, to making sure that we're reaching out diverse communities with an equity lens, and making sure that we're testing people, that we have contact tracers, and that we're communicating with trusted messengers to reach communities that often are not reached through just traditional social media or traditional broadcast media or traditional press conferences by a governor, that we recognize the essential nature of an essential workforce that's overwhelmingly represented by our diverse communities, and make sure that we are providing paid sick leave and workers' comp protection, that we're providing opportunities to isolate and quarantine. We did something no other state still has done. We put up $125 million in pandemic assistance, because the federal pandemic assistance didn't go for people without documentation. And we put it up for people regardless of their documentation. This year, we advanced a universal healthcare paradigm. We're the only state in America, regardless of your immigration status, provides universal healthcare up to age 26, and now we're starting to provide for seniors. We did something called an earned income tax credit, and we're now allowing, regardless of your immigration status, I-10 recipients to get the benefit of the earned income tax credit to help support working families and those on the edges. These are all things that disproportionately benefit the community. And in closing, we're the only state that, with our reopening plan, has an equity metrics that you can't move into these tiers to reopen unless you are addressing the needs of the Latino and African American community. We will not allow a community to reopen until they do justice to making sure that all of the members of that community are tested, and all the members of the community are included in terms of the outreach and engagement and support.
Thank you so much for your transparency. I mean, honestly, it goes so far, especially for a community like the one that I come from, and I see it. I as you mentioned, the access to testing. I thank you for those efforts, and then also acknowledging that we still have a ways to go, because I think that means a lot to, as I mentioned before, our entire families, our parents and our grandparents, and especially the ones who are essential workers in our community on the front lines of this pandemic, because we are, the farm workers, we are the nurses, we are the grocery shop workers, and to know that we are constantly being put in consideration and thought when these things are happening, it means a lot. And Governor, that actually leads me to a question that, to address the younger community, obviously we spoke about voting with them, but my family would call me a miedosa, which is a scaredy cat. I have taken COVID very seriously since the very beginning, because we don't really know what it is, and we're still learning about it every day. But still, people my age are maybe not taking, the safest precautions. Where are we right now, and how crucial is it that they continue to take these precautions?
California was the first state to do a stay-at-home order. California never experienced the big wave that New York and other states faced. California began to start to reopen, and when we started to see the cases go back up, It was the young folks. Meanwhile, they were going back home to mom and grandma, or they were going to work and they were engaging on the front lines and people were coming in and out. And all of a sudden we started to see our numbers go up. And let me just underscore this back to the equity lens. Half of the deaths within the Latino community are within the age of 19 to 34. People are dying in that cohort, not just getting sick, literally losing their lives. This is serious stuff. And you know what? Even if you got sick and you're better, we don't know the long-term effects. And we're just learning that. Wear a damn mask. Take this seriously. Get a test. You go to covid19.ca.gov. covid19.ca.gov. You can see where, you just type in your zip code and we will pop up all the free testing sites. It's easy to do, and for no other reason, because you love somebody else, because you care about your family.
Very, very serious. And as I said before, thinking more we than just me. And you mentioned it, and I can speak for our Latinx community. Most of our homes, we moved very often, me and my family. At times we were living with our other family members. So we're houses of many generations at times. Sometimes we live with our grandparents, even our great-grandparents. And so thinking we and not me will take us a lot further. And it's not saying that we can't go on about our lives, but it's saying that we got to go about it the right way, taking the precautions, wearing a mask, which should not be a political statement. It's about being a kind, considerate citizen who's, thinking of others when they're in shared spaces, and that's that. And, if there's one thing that I do know, it's that we are all human. And we all can learn something from these times we are facing as a society, above just COVID-19. COVID-19 really, the way I look at it is it just really showed us what's under the hood of what we've really been dealing with here in America and what many have been living. And I think the most important thing we can do is our best and hold ourselves as well as one another accountable in doing our best. So I really thank you for your honesty and, for your time, because I think trust is something our community really hopes to be able to find in individuals in positions like the one you're in to make change, because you do have a seat at the table, and these conversations, they aren't easy, but they are so necessary. So thank you again. And, I would hope and I would love if you and I can continue to stay in touch, to be, and have more conversations about how we can better serve our Latinx community and be a united front when it comes to, our home state of California.
I love it. I'm honored, and moreover, I'm inspired by your example. And thanks for giving a damn and stepping up, stepping in, sharing your voice in an authentic way. And I just, in the spirit of what you just said, everybody's expression is unique. And I think one of the great struggles we have in life is we always want to be like somebody else, when really the journey of life is just find out who you are. And that's the beauty. Is your experiences are unique and special, and the ability to share them in an authentic and congruent way, that allows you to live your life out loud. And so that's the pursuit: happiness, of community, of inclusiveness, and the empathy that you bring to these conversations. So I appreciate you, and thank you for being part of this remarkable place we call home, California.
That's right. Thank you so much. And all my best to you, your family. You guys stay safe out there. And para todo mi gente that is going to watch this awesome conversation, get out and vote. All right, let's do this. Let's show up and be present. Voting isn't every 4 years. Let's think about it as 365 days a year, every single year. Let's be engaged citizens. We got this.